touched on it there with the American lad, Scott, that, you know, you were desperate to get 55, you were desperate to win that title, and, you know, the pressure was really on Stephen and you guys that summer. Have you, now that you're away from the club, reflected on that and just the enormity of what that meant to so many people around the world, I feel like?
Yes and no, Andy. You know, I don't think you'll ever really know what you've done in your career until you really finish in the days and you don't get up and go into a changing room, and then you can really reflect. Obviously, at the time, what we did, you knew how big it was, but then again, you've got 3 weeks off and you go again. So, I think if you ask Alan McGregor, I think now he's reflecting on his full career and from when he was 18-year-old until now, I think that's the time for reflection. But there's always the next game, there's always the next training session. So,
hi Scott, congratulations on the move, mate. It's a terrific club in City. Listen, just take you back, obviously, again, to a wee bit more Rangers chat, but just obviously in the last 6 months of last season, after Todd Cantwell and Nico Raskin came in, obviously 2 different faces in the midfield, and those guys progressed during the second half of last season. As someone who's, you know, kind of been seen and done it in the Rangers midfield, how impressed were you by them, and do you feel they're ready to take the next step and kind of become almost leaders within the squad next season?
Yeah, without doubt, with the two of them. I think as football players, you sort of subconsciously judge each other. You know, I was getting judged my first training session here, and you do it. You know, how's their touch, how's their way to pass, how did they get on it, how did they scan their shoulder? There's loads of little things that you look for in a football player. And with A2 in particular, obviously, if everybody sort of knew Todd, he was more sort of in the public eye, obviously playing in England. But in terms of Nico, his first 2 training sessions, it was sensational. You could really see that he's built to play at a club the size of Rangers. I could see him playing there for years and really, really having he's captain material at such a young age. You could really lean on him. He takes the ball anywhere. He's comfortable with the ball. Great temperament to have in the middle of the pitch. He gets about it. So fantastic acquisition. In terms of Todd, you know, he's adding goals. That was the first thing that I said to him there. When he came to the football club, it's all well and good, looking amazing, but are you going to score? You're going to make big moments. Who's going to have them? Because if he doesn't have them, then somebody else is going to get them. And his play deserves big moments, and he's starting to get them. So I think that really sunk into him. And he's been amazing. What a signing he's been. I think with a full pre-season with this manager getting fitter, I think we'll see the best of Todd this season.
Because you know as well, obviously talent's a huge part of it. You need the personality as well to succeed at a club like Rangers. Do you see that in both those guys, despite their, you know, different ages and different stages of development?
Yeah, and completely different boys. You know, Nico's a wee bit more quiet, Todd's a wee bit more outgoing, but they've got it. They've got it. I said that earlier. You need to be a certain person to go on a pitch, and might not be the best football player, might not be the best silkiness, but you need something that outstands you with everybody else, to take the ball in front of 50,000 when 48,000 might not think you deserve to be there. That's the big thing about playing with the clubs at these sizes. And you need to be a certain person. You two have got it in abundance. So as I say, pre-season will be massive for them. Hopefully we can hit the ground running and bring the league back.
Quite derogatory about the standard of Scottish football and the standard of the Premiership, but I mean, you've played in the Premier League down south. You've played international football. You've played in the Premiership, and these guys that they've brought in, that they've got Premier League experience, Serie A experience, Bundesliga, Eredivisie. Do they need that? Do they need to be of that standard and have that behind them to cope with it?
Yeah, without a doubt, because you're playing 4 or 5 different competitions per season, so there's going to be different players that are suited to different competitions. So, as you said, you just reeled off some exciting talent there and fantastic leagues, and they're all at that football club. So, you know, it can only help the manager to achieve what he wants to do. It's the manager's job to now glue everything together and get a real team ethic and hopefully have a fantastic season. But you know, Scottish football in general does get a hard time. But you know, I've watched some games in England that aren't particularly fascinating, and you know, I think it's quite that everybody's very quick to judge Scottish football, but it is what it is, and I don't think it'll ever change.
Just finally from me, if I may, You beat Celtic in the last Old Firm game of last season, and it was a meaningless match, and the league had been won. But how important do you think that performance and result will be for the guys that are still there psychologically? And when you first went to Rangers and you were looking to sort of shift the balance of power, how important were the results against Celtic in that process?
Yeah, well, in terms of the league, it was certainly meaningless. But their games are never meaningless. People live and die by their results and live and die by their two football clubs. So they never mean nothing. They mean something. Maybe in the league they meant nothing. But it always means something. So psychologically, it's foresight. That's something that's going to happen going forward. You never really know. All you can do is beat who's in front of you. They did that day, but never won the league. So you need to regroup and go again.
Thanks, Scott.